I'm looking at a game that has all the hallmarks of a classic title. Canada, troll dolls, boats, and ghost wolves. What's not to love? The devs at Parable have reached out to showcase this mysterious shooter/murder mystery hybrid called KONA 2 Brume. And let me tell you, it fucking swept me off my feet, eh? You get it? Cause it's, you know, it's called Brume. So make sure you got your Timmies, your ketchup chips, and while I tell you my thoughts on the title, you can click the link down below, download the game for yourself, and I want to give a huge shout out to PlayOn for sponsoring this first impressions discussion. You play as Carl Faubert, a Canadian detective in the 1970s, investigating the strange happenings of a small mining county called Manistan, set in northern Canada, bud. Now keep in mind, I haven't played the first KONA. Matter of fact, I don't even know who KONA is. All I know is you can feed dogs pig's ears, climb towers to find dead frozen bodies, and break into people's backyards to start up a fire pit. So it's basically how I spend every weekend. This game has FPS elements with multiple weapons, a fully voiced narrative storyline that really brings you into the world, enough dog sledding to get you prepped for the Iditarod, creepy vibes all around in the first section of the game where you're investigating a mansion and, well, it's not any old mansion, bud. Now, so far the game has been pretty straightforward. You have to solve puzzles, both environmental and story related, to progress further through the first part of the game. And once you do, you enter into this semi-open world where you can travel by boat or dog sled. The vast majority of your time is spent taking pictures and piecing together just what the fuck's going on. But for me, coming from an FPS perspective, and also the fact that I'm a pussy when it comes to anything remotely scary, I got my gun up at all times for when the dogs come back. It's tough to discuss this game without going into the story, which is such a huge part of the game, and I don't want to go down that road with spoilers, but so far what I've experienced storyline-wise is pretty cool. The way they narrate the game is dope, and the fact that it's almost like a retelling of the story. Think Stanley Parable, but without all of the meta humor stuff. This is a serious story/retelling of events that transpired in this fictional landscape in the 1970s. Now, I gotta say, buds, one thing I hate about games like this is the way that exploration gets laid out to the player. You can find items in drawers, cabinets, and boxes, but you can't open every single thing. So a lot of my early time spent in the game was walking up to drawers and cabinets going, can I open this? Nope. Okay, on to the next one. They do have the prompts, but sometimes they don't pop up until you're real close to the object. I wish there was a more streamlined way to be like, hey, this thing here is openable, without highlighting the shit out of it from a distance and taking you out of that visual immersion. Because this game is very good looking at max settings. When you're outside, it's a lot of white, which is basically a flashbang, and very indicative of what I see for 6 months out of the year. But I'm not some dumbass who will die out in the cold like this guy was, or this guy, or fuck even this dude. But when you get into those inside shots, this is realistic enough to where I get nervous walking around like I'm playing Visage or PT or Resident Evil 7. And this might sound like a slight, but for me as a player, this is actually a good thing. This isn't as scary as those games are. But I actually don't think it's going for this type of horror. It's more of a, I can tell some shit's going on, and the bass boost and the feeling of uneasiness, but not the every 15 seconds. KONA can be described as a single-player, narrative-driven, investigative survival experience, and I myself haven't played many games like this, nor do I think this is a game that will be universally praised, as it just isn't for everyone. That being said, I think what they have here is pretty dope, and from what I can tell, this game is going to be anywhere from 8 to 10 hours of playtime, depending on how smart you are with the puzzles and navigating this world. Also, what's happening with this toilet here? With the current price point of $29.99, I know there are going to be people that would appreciate a smaller, concise experience who would gobble this up. But I also know there are people out there who wouldn't touch that playtime with a 10-foot pole for that price point and are looking for other, more expansive experiences for your dollar. I can definitely understand both, but I still recommend KONA 2. If you're not a fan of paying full price, just wait for a sale. I think you guys would actually enjoy it. As somebody working on their own single-player narrative-driven project, I want to support more titles that are doing that. Straight to the point, concise story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end that's actually fun to play. And of course, this one's set in Canada, so how the f can I not recommend a survival experience set in Canada after we had Dead Matter launch at almost double the price earlier this year? It's a fucking steal, buds. I have friends who hunt and they kill like bears and wolves and shit. Have you ever fucking seen someone kill a ghost elk? Fuck. The only thing we're missing is a big old F-150 and some Timmy hose, and we got ourselves a party. Jokes aside, I can always appreciate Canadian heritage throwbacks like the Moose RCMP plushie, the classic Canadian quarter, and troll plushies. Even though I wasn't alive in the 70s, it takes me back to a time where our country wasn't in worse shape than this guy. The real horror is I'd rather live in this fictional time period than the current timeline we're in now. But from visuals to storyline to gameplay, I actually think KONA 2 is a pretty solid deal. I don't think it'll be for everybody, but that's cool too. If you guys do want to pick up a copy, there is a link down below in the top pinned comment and at the top of the description. A big shout out to PlayOn for sponsoring this first impressions playthrough. And if you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like on it. My name is Big Fry, and I'll see you on the next one.